Well, the Minnesota Vikings will play for the NFC North Division. And even more importantly, they'll play for the number one seed in the NFC next Sunday against the Detroit Lions. This team was supposed to win 6 games. Their line coming into the year was 6.5, which means that if you bet that the Vikings would win 7 games, you would have succeeded. Well, right now, they've got 14 wins to 2 losses. And looking at who they've lost to, of course, the Detroit Lions, who they already played earlier in the year. And then their other loss was against the Los Angeles Rams, who are looking like they're going to go on to win the NFC West division. Two very highly talented offensive teams, Sean McVay, Ben Johnson, obviously. But the thing with the Vikings is on both sides of the ball, they're just flat out getting it done. They've got two head coaches, if you think about it, Brian Flores on defense and then Kevin O'Connell on offense. But Sam Darnold has been the biggest story, 377 yards against the Packers, who have maybe even the best defense, or at least they're playing the best defensively. 3 touchdowns. The one pick, Darnold just forced it in a double coverage. He tried to do a little bit too much, which sort of swung the momentum. It's just the little plays like that Darnold's going to have to clean up. But overall, he's having an unbelievable season, 116.1 rating. I didn't think the Vikings particularly ran the ball very well in this one, just 2.7 yards per carry, 26 of 69. Aaron Jones, 12 for 47, almost found the end zone, which I was rooting for him, of course, sort of a revenge game. But Justin Jefferson, he had a one-handed catch that didn't count. Oh my God, it was called back due to a hold. It was one of the best catches I've seen all year. 8 for 92 for JJ, of course. Jefferson just year after year has been consistent, more consistent than any other receiver. He's been big time. And the Vikings, they're not forcing the ball to him as well. Jalen Naylor had 81 yards and a touchdown. Jordan Addison had 69 yards and a touchdown. TJ Hawkinson had 68 yards. And then Aaron Jones had 30 yards out of the backfield. So Darnold was just spreading it out. I mean, he hit, 8 different Vikings weapons in this game for catches, which is great. Defensively, the Packers scored 15 unanswered in that fourth quarter. Of course, we can't just discredit that, but prior to that, this team had 10 points going into the fourth quarter, which is remarkably impressive. The fourth, I thought the Vikings just got a little bit complacent, one thing that they can't afford to do, because this could have cost them a lot. I mean, if they weren't able to, of course, get the ball to their fullback for the first down on that final drive and then hit Jefferson, of course, and then just once again get it in a play action pass, if they weren't able to just run the game out to triple zeros and the Packers got the ball and just needed a field goal, I mean, this would have been a huge, huge loss. It would have set up just a huge shift in the NFC, because now if the Vikings beat the Lions in Week 18, the Eagles end up getting the 1 seed. But the Vikings, they realized that, hey, look, we got to find a way to just clinch out this game, finish it out, and they did exactly that. And they did a great job overall against Jordan Love, who had only 185 yards, threw the ball 30 times, which is a decent amount. But Love, just everything was in front of the Vikings, and they just came up and made tackles, or it was just an incomplete pass. I mean, their coverage was very sticky. They also got pressure, of course, with 3 sacks on the night. Josh Jacobs, they kept him in check. He lost a fumble to start this game. Of course, did have a touchdown. He fell into the end zone. But overall, 4.1 yards per carry, 17 for 69. You'll live with that if you're the Vikings. Only 104 yards on the ground to go with 185 yards through the air. That interception sort of catapulted, like I said, this Packers offense. It gave them some life. So, Darnold was amazing. He's nearly perfect, but just that one mistake is all it takes, is just one mistake and you give a team life. And the Packers, you look at their L's this season, they've lost to the Vikings twice, the Lions twice, and the Eagles. So they have not beaten any of the top tier or upper echelon teams in the NFC. And I predicted the Packers to actually go to the Super Bowl before the season started. I know Vikings fans are going to hate me for that. I mean, I didn't think the Vikings would be this good. I knew they'd be good. I knew they'd be competing for a playoff spot because Kevin O'Connell is a genius, but I mean, 14-2, Sam Darnold looking like an MVP candidate. The defense I knew would be this elite, and then the weapons are fantastic. But it's just what has really been the difference is just Sam Darnold. I didn't know what to expect out of him. I knew the upside was there because he's got a big arm and he's very athletic. But, I mean, he's just playing the best football by far of his career. Reminds me a lot of Baker Mayfield, just with a bouncing around different teams and then finally gets the right head coach and now he's balling. And speaking of Baker, he played the best game of his career earlier against the Panthers with 5 total touchdowns, which is unbelievably good. Blake Cashman had a hell of a game, 11 tackles, 6 solo. Once again, just another good game for him in coverage. And then the Vikings, they also got good production just from Stephon Gilmore and Harrison Phillips, Byron Murphy Jr., lot of faces within the past couple of years that have come in and just elevated their game in Brian Flores' system. It's definitely a thing of beauty. The Vikings, I mean, next weekend is going to be the biggest game in truly probably the history of their franchise in the regular season. You win that, you get the 1 seed, and everyone's going to have to go through Minnesota. If the Vikings win that game, which I do think they will, in the past couple of weeks, I've been telling you guys on my channel that I believe the Vikings are the best team in the NFC. I believe they're the best team in the NFC North. The Lions are dealing with injuries. And then the Eagles, I just trust Darnold more than I trust Hurts. I know Hurts has gone to the Super Bowl, he's balled out, but Darnold just looks so comfortable, too comfortable. And Jefferson and those weapons and Addison and Hawkinson and Aaron Jones is trying to, of course, go out and get a Super Bowl, man. He's been dying for one forever before he retires. Kevin O'Connell's the thing, too. Kevin O'Connell versus Nick Sirianni. And Vic Fangio is good, but Brian Flores, I've always just liked this guy, man. The Vikings, the crowd too, is just always behind them. I will say the one bad thing that I didn't like from the Vikings in this one was their special teams. Their kicker missed 2 kicks. Reichard, he missed one from, what was it, like 50? It was a long 50-yarder, which for an NFL kicker, I mean, you still expected to make that. And it was just short to literally like hit the front of the crossbar. And then the other one was like a 40-yarder, if that, and he missed it too. So that was a large reason why the Packers hung around, was because of those 2 missed kicks. A big difference, 27-25 versus 33-25. I mean, to that point, the Packers would have to score a touchdown, and then of course they'd have to go for 2. So I mean, guys, got to knock down those kicks, cannot throw an interception, give the Packers a short field. The return off of the pick also went for a lot of yardage, so that was something as well. But just the Vikings, I mean, 8-1 at home. Nobody's going to want to come into Minnesota. They've got to beat the Lions. I'm calling it a must-win game, because if the Vikings lose that, let's say they just stay the 5th seed. Oh, my goodness. That's the thing, is you can be, 14-3 and be the 5th seed, which is just unfair. It's just how the rules are, I guess. But the 1 seed, of course, you get a bye. It's another thing, is the Vikings can get healthy. They can prep and just prepare more for their matchups. Also, in the divisional, in the second round, you guys would be getting the lowest seed that advances, which is a big time as well. Because if you look at like the other side of the bracket, I mean, you're going to be going up against an elite team in the second round. But if you have that bye, I mean, you're going to be going up against like a decent team. Not a bad team because they want a playoff game, but still, Vikings have got to get that. Can they go on the road? I mean, yeah, in the playoffs, I do trust the Vikings to go on the road. But Sam Darnold, it's going to be the most probably adversity he's ever faced in his career. Big time moment with the Vikings. I mean, this is the best regular season they've ever had. We've never seen the Vikings and the Packers meet this late in the year and have these good of records. And Darnold is taking care of business. He's played well. But come playoff time, it's a whole different atmosphere. Darnold's looking to get paid too. I don't think he'll be back with the Vikings next year. J.J. McCarthy looks like he's going to be the future. And I look at it this way. If O'Connell has Darnold playing this well, what's he going to do with J.J. McCarthy? J.J. has the potential to be one of the all-time greats if he truly hits his ceiling. He's so young, great athlete, throwing on the run, loves to throw across the middle of the field. I like J.J. McCarthy, and I'm excited to see him play. But right now, Sam Darnold has the keys to this franchise, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see what he does the rest of the year. But guys, I'm out. Swaggy. Peace.